Life is coming to the Upland Metaverse, but what does it look like? In January, Upland's co-CEO Idan Zuckerman was at the Blockchain Hub conference in Davos and announced an initiative called the Species Foundation. In this video, I'm going to talk about the Species Foundation, why it's important to Upland and how it will be used, and beyond that, why the Species Foundation is going to be important to all the metaverses that exist now and in the future. In the Upland Metaverse, we all know about Spark, which is the resource that is required to build inanimate objects. Upland has also spoken on several occasions about a token that is called Life, and this will be something similar to Spark that will be used to create living objects. Whether it be something like a tree or a flower bed, or even a pet dog or a cat, these are all things that are going to be tied to this Life token. Here we can see a really cool design of a player who took some pieces of outdoor decor items and wrote out the word Rio for Rio de Janeiro on his property, which is really cool. Now, outdoor decor items similar to this are things that can be designed by players within the game. They don't just appear in the game, they have to be manufactured in factories using Spark. Then these items are going to be sold in showrooms where players are able to purchase them and then place them on their own properties. If you want to learn more about manufacturing, take a look at the link in the upper right-hand corner. The life token and living objects like trees or animals are going to work differently. These are not things that players are going to be able to create on their own, specifically for the Upland Metaverse. Here I'm on the Species Foundation website, which is species.io. They just launched this website after I saw Idan talk about the Species Foundation. It's clear that Upland is taking a large part in this, but it's unclear if they are leading this foundation. But as I explain in this video, you will see why this is really important for the continued development of the Upland Metaverse. The mission of this foundation is the mapping of all of the living species in digital form to create a unified, standardized repository used by any virtual world, game, or platform. There's a lot to unpack in this mission statement, and if you haven't watched one of my previous videos titled, What's the Difference Between the Metaverse and the Metaverse, one with a capital M and one with a lowercase m, I highly recommend watching that video in the upper right-hand corner, as it will give you some context moving forward. So what does it mean when the Species Foundation is looking to create a unified, standardized repository? Why is it important and why do we need one? Using the example of a dog, in the future, Upland has said that once this life token has become a reality in the Upland Metaverse, players will be able to have things such as pet dogs or cats. Now, let's say I purchase a dog or I'm able to breed it in some way, but let's say I have a dog in the Upland Metaverse. I also want to take that dog into other metaverses. I don't want to create copies of my dog or try and create copies of my dog in every different metaverse that I'm active in. I want to take my one and only dog and take that in my car that I also own in Upland and my avatar and take all of those things into a different metaverse. Now, if my dog happens to be a golden retriever in the Upland metaverse and my friend also has a golden retriever, but let's say in the sandbox, it would make sense that they would have similar traits. For example, how fast they can run, how high they can jump, how much food they eat, how much sleep they need, how many times a day do they need to be walked or pet. All of these traits are important not only to golden retrievers, but all dogs and maybe other pets as well. So it doesn't make a lot of sense for someone in Upland to create a golden retriever dog and have to define all these parameters, and someone else in the sandbox having to create a golden retriever dog, thinking about those same parameters, and maybe have them similar to those of the parameters in the Uplands dog. If these dogs were to meet, you might find one is more like a dog and the other one acts more like a horse. And that would be because there is nothing unified or standardized about what a dog actually is. So this Species Foundation is trying to do just that. They're looking to map these dogs, cats, trees, any living object into digital form and create a unified standardized repository so that if someone is looking for a golden retriever, they know that they can go to the Species Foundation and take this quote unquote building block, which is a golden retriever, and use it wherever he would like in his virtual world, game, or platform that he's creating. It's also important that when I move between these different metaverses, if one metaverse is super hyper realistic and another one is more cartoonish, I don't want to have to take my cartoon dog and bring it into a hyper realistic metaverse and it's still looking like a cartoon. So it's important that my golden retriever it has several different digital forms where it looks like a cartoon golden retriever in one metaverse, but when brought into different metaverses, it does have the hyper realistic imagery of what a golden retriever actually is. Who are actually going to be the people who are going to be accessing this bank or repository of these living species? These are most likely going to be these game or metaverse designers. If I wanted to develop a game that was based off of a farm, I would obviously need all sorts of different farm animals. Now, if I wanted to do this today, whether it's in the Web3 space or in the Web2 space, I would have to go and define all of these different animals. I would have to model them. How do they look? How do they interact? What are these parameters that I spoke of before? And every game would have to go and define that. By accessing this bank of building blocks, I can design and create my game a lot faster without the knowledge of what exactly a dog is or what exactly a horse is. Because when I go and choose it from this species foundation bank, it comes with all these parameters already defined and already thought out. And now you can start to see how much time I would be able to save as a game developer if I'm able to use all of these building blocks of these different species. How exactly is the Species Foundation going to achieve this goal? They say here that they are going to create a decentralized tokenomics ecosystem that incentivizes co-creators to define and develop standard digital forms of life, establishing distributed governance methodologies that align ecosystem stakeholders, creators adopting virtual platforms, and token holders. This is not a light undertaking if you realize that dog isn't specific enough, as there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different types of dogs. The same thing can be said for horses and all other types of species, even plants and trees. There is a lot of work to do. On top of that, all of the different metaverses, they have their own style and way of thinking. And in order to bridge these and bring it all together, the issue of standardization is really important. And that means there's a lot of need for collaboration and finding middle ground. Each different team or each different metaverse is not always going to see eye to eye on the same things. So creating a lot of these standards is not such an easy process. On top of that, what is the process of actually creating a new species? Who has to provide input? How can this be created? And what kind of approval process needs to be done? What happens if something needs to be changed? How are all of these things managed from this repository standpoint? There is a lot of work that is going to need to be done before life can enter the Upland metaverse. But here we can see Upland stepping up to the plate and creating the foundation that is not just beneficial to the Upland metaverse, but they are looking at the metaverse with a capital M with their goals in mind. This also aligns with their partnership with the Open Metaverse Alliance for Web3, which Dirk Luth, the other Upland co-founder, is the chairman of at the moment. That organization is also working on defining standards for interoperability between the different metaverses. You can learn more about that in the link in the upper right-hand corner. As we learn more about the Species Foundation and the Life Token within Upland, you can be sure that I will be here to continue to provide you more information and background. If you haven't already done so, make sure to hit that subscribe button and check out the details in the description below to check out all of the places you can follow the Upland Guide.